Hey there, Arc Hunters. This is Grimweird. I thought I'd throw up another video and just quickly go through some of the ways that your character progresses. From a lot of people coming from an MMORPG perspective, some of the things are not going to be obvious. So let's take a look at that real quick. Your character progresses in a number of ways. Up in the very top left, you might be able to see, if you are in full screen, a 78 next to my name. 78 is my ego rating or my ego power. The ego rating is... Let's take a look here. So, my ego rating of 78 is a combination of a lot of different things. A lot of things can affect that. For instance, at the bottom of my screen, you might be able to see a yellow bar that goes all the way across the bottom of my screen. Every time I fill up that yellow bar, I get a new ego point to spend in the ego grid. I also get 10 ego rating. So if I look here, I have spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a total of 7 ego points, and I have a 78 ego rating. So probably 70 of that 78 ego rating comes from the 7 times that I've filled up this yellow bar at the bottom of my screen. But why do I have 78? Well, that's another source of ego rating. So if we go to the stats tab, we will see that we have weapon skills. And we will see that this particular character for the weapon skills has 3 in assault rifles. Every time you go up in a skill in any of these weapons, you gain 4 ego rating. So when I went from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3, I got +4 and then another +4 ego rating. So my ego rating right now is 70 ego rating from filling up the yellow bar and getting ego points, and 8 ego rating from getting 2 skill ups in assault rifles. You do not get ego rating from going up in vehicle skill. So we've already hit on a couple of progression things here. Filling up this is a mirror of that yellow bar at the bottom of my screen, the ego upgrade. So filling this up by getting experience will give me 10 points. As I get these, I'll get 4 points each. Then there's also one more place. If I go to the goals menu, the pursuits tab, if I were to finish the Mount Tam exploration by going to Delta Bunker East and Serenity Academy, I would get +5 ego power. So here's another case where filling up a pursuit, I would suddenly have 83 ego rating. 70 from ego points, 8 from weapon skill ups, and 5 from pursuits. Those are the 3 ways that you're going to increase your ego rating. And as your ego rating goes up, you unlock things like more loadouts, which are just basically preset weapon equipment combos, and perks, which are passive abilities that you can equip. So at really high ego rating, I'll be able to equip a bunch of passive perks, which will be really nice. Also, as your ego rating goes up, you get access to some different styles of weapons than just sort of basic weapons. Quite often these different styles of weapons have, special effects. So that's pretty much what goes into this ego rating. The 3 factors of filling up your experience bar, leveling your weapon skills, and completing pursuits. So the actual ego units, you only get these when you fill up your experience bar. And that's another way to advance in this game. Not only making these better, like you pick this one, I've got 3 ranks in rear guard, so I take 30% less damage when I'm shot from behind. And I have 3 ranks in detachment, which means for 3 seconds after I kill, I take 12% less damage. And then my main power is decoy. As I start taking more of these, I will be able to walk my way over to these other powers, and then I will be able to choose between. Now the only hotkey I can have for one, the only power I can use is decoy. But as I unlock these, I will eventually unlock the other decoy powers, and then if I want to make a loadout that is like an overcharge or a cloak loadout, I will be able to do that. So progressing your ego rating is one way to progress. Getting more ego units and unlocking this grid is another way to progress. And as we've shown here, getting these skills going can also help you. Already for assault rifles, I'm 1% faster in reloading, 2% less recoil, and soon we'll have an extra 1% critical multiplier. So when you actually get like up to 20 in a weapon skill, you have a whole bunch of little benefits to the using assault rifles. So those are the main ways you're going to progress your character. The other question that a lot of people come up with is, how do weapons progress? So let's take a look at that. A lot of people notice that weapons that they get several hours into the game aren't necessarily any better than weapons they started the game with. So let's take a look at things. You have a variety of colors of rarity, and white weapons are usually have no special effects on them, and they're usually just the basic version of that weapon. Greens are a little better. Quite often they have one special effect here. So for instance, you can see on the saw there was no bonuses here. It's just the basic stats. If we go to a green thing, you'll see here now it's times 0.9 reload. So it's a 10% faster reload for this sniper rifle than the generic version of this sniper rifle. If we go here to a blue version of a sniper rifle, it's still 1271 damage with a fire rate of 0.7. 1271 damage, fire rate of 0.7. This is basically the same gun, and it's going to have the same base stats. But whereas this green version has 0.9 reload, this rarer blue version, it has a magazine mod slot. So you can see that by both the little box under the 8 here. If you're in full screen, you might be able to see that. Or you can see that here. It has a little picture of a magazine. So it will take a magazine modification, which could help you with reloading or with a bigger magazine. So that's one way that guns get better. It's still the same damage, the same base stats. If you are all the way at the end of this game, this kind of bolt-action sniper rifle is always going to have the same base stats. What will be added to it are the little bells and whistles. So this one, instead of having 0.9 reload faster, it has 1.15 crit multiplier. Well, obviously, if you're a sniper, you're going to be loving the criticals. So where you can see that is if I go back here, it has a 3.0 crit multiplier. And if I go back to this one, this has a 3.5 crit multiplier. So that's where the stats change. The stats don't change because it's a higher ego rating. They only change because it has these bonuses to it. Same thing if we go the other way. This reloads 2.3. If we go to this one, it reloads at 3.2. So that's actually quite a bit different and better for this gun. So there might be some changes other than just what you list here. Other things to watch for is the little symbols here. This has a little biohazard blue symbol that you can see both here and here. That means that it has an elemental effect, which means when you shoot people, it has a special effect, a proc as we used to call them back in the day. And also this one has a melee attack, a siphon melee attack, which means if I hit somebody, I will siphon a little of their health off if it procs. So again, that's a way where this blue sniper rifle at 78 ego rating is noticeably better than this green one at 0 ego rating. It has special effects for both shooting and for hitting somebody in the face with it. It has some inherent multipliers, it has some mod slots, so that's where you get your bonus. Just as another one we can look at, assault rifles. I've got a VBI assault rifle here, 222 damage, but it has a 1.1 mag, so it has a 50 mag, and it has special effects, and it will take a barrel mod. If I then look at my purple version of the same ego rating, it also has 222 damage, so this is basically the same gun, but it has 15% self-revive recharge on revive of another player. So if I'm at an arc fall and I revive somebody else, my self-revive recharges faster. So that's one of the key things that you're going to look for later in the game is versions of these guns that have more mod slots, more special effects, and more special bonuses. Here's another example. This sniper rifle, I've got a green version of 78. It has a little higher fire rate and can take a sight. And it shoots with this elemental effect. The purple version at 78 also shoots with a special effect. It has 2 mods instead of 1, and it has a lower recoil, and 25% of my stowed weapon clip is reloaded on a kill. The purple weapons are where you start getting into these cool special bonuses that can be really powerful. I like ones that, this is a good one. There's also ones that, as we saw on this weapon, that increase your self-revive. On this weapon, 15% grenade recharge on kill. That's a great one. So for getting gear later in the game, as you get to higher ego rating, you'll eventually want guns that can have all 4 mod slots and have great inherent bonuses, and also have good elemental effects, the elemental effects that you like. So for me, my personal favorite gun might be something like this, but I'm going to want one that has an electricity ranged effect and an electricity melee effect. And instead of reload, I might prefer something like a bigger magazine or something like that. So as you go on in the game, that's the kind of stuff you're going to be looking at. But you can also, as you go up in ego rating, find types of weapons that are different. For instance, this assault rifle is similar to what is known as a VBI TAC, T-A-C-C, and it fires burst of 3 rounds really quick. So this is actually a really cool version of the assault rifle. This particular one only has 1 mod slot and only 1 inherent bonus. So later in the game, what I'm going to want is an assault rifle that has the damage of 379, but I'm going to want a purple one that gives me grenade recharge on kill, and that gives me electricity damage. That's going to be the kind of weapon I'm looking for as I go up in ego rating. One last thing about progression. Each weapon, each individual weapon, has its own experience bar. Two things happen when this get to the top currently as of beta. One good thing in that when I get this to the top, it gets another inherent bonus. So it might get 0.9 reload or something like that added to it because I'm really familiar with that weapon. But the bad thing that happens is because I'm really familiar with that weapon and I'm no longer getting experience with that weapon, I stop getting experience for assault rifle skill, which is actually pretty darn annoying. But hopefully they have said that there will be a way in the salvage matrix for you to use some sort of crafting type thing to add or to refresh that weapon so that you'll continue to get experience from it. But that's something to watch for at launch and see what happens with that. But that's a very key thing to remember early in the game, is that once your weapon is maxed out, you stop earning experience here. So watch out for that. And this has already gone sort of long, but those are sort of the main points of progression that I wanted to talk about. How you progress in ego rating through filling up your experience bar to get ego units. Gives you 10 ego rating every time you do that. You also get ego rating for getting levels of skill, and you also get ego rating from finishing pursuits. Some of them give an awful lot, like plus 40 if you finish all of the Mount Tam stuff. And so that's kind of it for progression for now, and I'm going to stop this video here, and I might have another video on other things in the game, so check back. And again, all of this is PC version beta weekend 3, so if you're watching this at launch or a year from now, things may have changed, and I apologize for that. I'm not going to be going back and updating these videos because I'll be too busy shooting things.